let's talk about how to deal with multiple attackers, which this is something that could easily fall into the realm of McDojo life territory, where some pretty radical, kind of wacky ideas start popping up. What I wanted to do with you guys today is I wanted to share the first part of a 4-part workshop that I did. It was for our members and their friends, so there are a lot of people who have never done martial arts. We do these about every 3 months where we just have a big lunch and people can bring their friends and we do some sort of topic. So this is very light, very fun and playful, but it helps people to start to understand how the same techniques that they're learning in class against one-on-one can then translate over into dealing with multiple attackers. Now I have to be transparent here and say that even though we did multiple attacker sparring drills growing up in Jeet Kune, it was really my training in Krav Maga where I really started to see a progressive system of drills that would build somebody up over time and teach them the individual concepts. And so a lot of what I'm teaching actually comes from my training in Krav Maga, which I think is a very complementary art to Jeet Kune. In fact, I remember talking to one of the guys that was leading a Krav Maga seminar that I went to, and he was a much older gentleman, so he was alive back in the early days. Krav Maga is, if I remember right, came about in sort of the 50s. Jeet Kune came about in the 60s. When I mentioned, man, I see so many similarities, I mentioned that to him. He said, you know, honestly, I remember we were going to all your guys' seminars. You guys are coming to all of our seminars, so it doesn't surprise me. And so a lot of the stuff, it got shared back and forth. And that's what it felt like to me. It felt like getting to see Jeet Kune through a new angle. So in this first one, we're just learning how to stay situationally aware, how to keep our focus open so that we don't get too locked in on any one person, and also that we are able to move. We're not getting too settled into any one spot, and we learn our basic clinch control positions. So I hope you enjoyed this part 1 of a 4-part workshop we did on dealing with multiple attackers. Awesome, guys. These 2 guys are going to walk in, and when they come in, go ahead. Yeah! Then you're going to come over here. You're going to grab the tallest guy's arm. You're going to come over to this. You're going to loop them around. If you guys have heard of a double leg takedown, this is a sextuple takedown. You're going to drop down. They all go down. Then you're going to jump over here. There's 2 more bad guys. This is the innocent bystander that's trying to break up the fight, so you don't hit there. Yeah! Yeah! All right. Break it to Jeet. Let's do it. There's a channel called McDojo Life where they post things like that. I'm like, I hope I don't end up on McDojo Life. We're going to shoulder tag. I'm going to try and touch his shoulder. He's going to try and touch mine. I'm also going to try and touch his shoulder. He's going to try and touch mine. And he's going to try and touch his shoulder. He's going to try and touch mine. Basically, all shoulders are up for grabs. So let's do this. Ready? Oh. I got to get this in before they catch on to what to do. Yeah. Be careful of fingers going into the eyes. Good, okay. All right, guys, break off into little clumps. Go, let's do it. The same techniques that we do one-on-one in class. It's just a change of context. It's understanding how do these change context. So we're going to go over what a lot of these really important pieces are. Like you can guess, footwork is one of them. That's why I like that shoulder tag sparring is like you cannot just stand there. In sparring one-on-one, some people like to just stand there. But when you've got 2 people, there's a lot of moving or else you're getting hit. So footwork and positioning is a really important concept. So one-on-one is an important concept. You know, if I can get an angle on a person, awesome. But when it comes to multiple attackers, it is absolutely necessary. So it's less about learning new techniques and skills, and it's more about being really, really on point with some of the skills you already work on. I do want to make sure we all kind of have a basic use of some basic skills. The first one that we're going to play with is a side clinch. I prefer the regular clinch for what we're going to do, but this, we're going to be pulling each other around, and we're all going to leave here going, I hate force if I have us do this. So the side clinch, it's not my favorite for actual application, but it doesn't kill your neck. So we're going to do a side clinch, which is this. okay? It works the same way. It is useful. It's just, for me, I find it harder to control somebody with this. But it's nicer on my partner's neck, and you just know, okay, the concept is the same. All I'm going to do, go ahead and stand square, is I'm going to stand just off line to him. If I put my hands out, this hand's on his chest. That one is going to go to his neck. Some people like to grab the clothing. You can do it that way. I like to hook around the neck, and then I push the hand. And I am going to take the leg. So this arm, this leg, that leg is back. That's the one I'm kneeing with, okay? Boom, boom, here, okay? So I'm gonna throw a few knees, real light, just learning the position. Then I'm gonna step over. This hand goes around his neck, pops out. So push that hand in, just wedge it in. This leg goes back. Throw a few knees here. If you can get kind of this push-pull, then so you kind of pull them into that knee, that's even better. But all we're trying to do is just learn a few basic positions that are going to come into play in the drills we're going to use. Okay? But again, these aren't magical positions, and I would rather in actual drilling with someone do more. The full clinch, it's just it's really tiring on the neck, and I want everybody to enjoy their lunch and not be nursing injuries. So, give it to your partner. You do both sides, and your partner does both sides. All right, go ahead. Okay, so now here's what I want. So he's going to put this against his chest. I'm going to do what I call a straight blast. So it goes, I throw a flurry of punches. So it's ba, 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 ba. Then I'm going to grab. He's going to just kind of like put this on his tummy. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to come over to this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he's going to hand it to me. So straight blast. So it's like a flurry of 6 to 8 punches, and then he's going to clinch. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. You can throw punches, or you can open your hand and hit with the bottom of your palm. If you're not used to throwing punches or it hurts your fist, or you're afraid of bending your wrist and hurting it there, then feel free to go palm. If I throw a horizontal punch and my wrist collapses, that's what happens, and it jacks up my wrist. If I throw a vertical punch and my wrist collapses, my elbow bends with it. See, here, it doesn't quite work the same way. Here, my elbow bends. So if you do want to do punches, but this feels like a lot of pressure on your wrist, switch to vertical punches, okay? So our first defensive technique, I'm going to have you do what's called an outside forearm parry. So, or a roof block, because it looks like a roof. Like I make a roof. He throws that haymaker, and I go here. The reason why I'm going to have us do it this way right now is because if you're brand new and you haven't learned this can be quite jostling if you don't know how to do it, whereas this feels a lot safer. And you don't know if this guy is swinging a punch at you, or grabbed a beer bottle, or has a knife, or like a little metal, like a flashlight. What's that? A pretzel? Oh. So when he hooks at me, if I go here, I create a little bit of distance in case there is something else attached to this, okay? It also makes it easier for me to hit at the same time. See, if he hooks and I go here, I can't really punch there instead, but if he punches and I go with that, that would be my punch, which then sends me into this too. So what I want you to do is we're just going to practice that. He's going to throw that haymaker. I go 1. Notice my elbow. I make my little roof just like this. Okay, my elbow flares out. Okay, then he's going to throw that one. 1, just like that. Now I'm going to hook at him. 1. Now I'm going to hook at him. 1. Okay, just go back and forth. Okay, bop, bop, and then the other person. All right, guys, so that completes part 1 of the workshop. Now to see these techniques actually applied in 2-on-1 drills, go ahead and click this video right here. Awesome.